Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it. Let me ask you this. So especially since you've been at the same school your whole career as a head coach, I don't like it when you hear the phrase that kids are different now. I don't know. I understand their differences really because of external things. Like when I was at the colony, I did have a cell phone my junior year. That was when I first got it, but it was one of those big, thick Nokias like Zach Morris and Saved by the Bell. You know, like you could barely do anything with it. You could call your parents, barely text. So it wasn't that big of a thing. But from your experience, are kids different now than they were when I was in high school at the colony?
I think kids are, but I also think I'm different now than I was, back then as well. You're probably different. And I agree with you. I think sometimes we keep, and I actually used it earlier, this generation, we use it almost as a crutch for us. I feel like sometimes, and yeah, they're different. And I've used this phrase before too. Every next year's group's going to be different. And even if I have the same kids coming back, they go from sophomores to juniors or what, they're going to be different when they get a little older. And we just have to come up with creative ways to communicate with them. And I tell people this, it's not, all we have to do, we have to outsmart teenagers, so that's not really that hard. But the hard part is we have to do it every day. Like they keep us on our toes, and we can outsmart them today, but they're going to come up with something new, or they're going to test us, the next day, or they're going to test us the next day. And so we just have to keep thinking, and outsmarting them, because they get creative. And when they're having fun with, challenging you a little bit, like I said, in a fun way, it keeps it fun, but it keeps us young. And even though I've been here for a while, and coach, I think that's the part that keeps me going too, is you can't just show up and I did this last year on, April 11th and do this. You've got to change it up. So.
Yeah, you nailed it, man. Because like if you keep sitting around every year just beating your head on the wall about how different these kids are and how they're getting worse and worse, and when I was young, or like to your point, that's the art of it. The fun part of it is, okay, this is how I motivated these guys 5 years ago, but it's just different. Like these guys are different. There's something different motivates them now. And I think it comes back to relationship too, actually knowing their why and what's important to them. What's their motivation? Do they like it? Do they love it? Or do they live it? Like if you treat all of them like they live it, I mean, golly, coach, you're going to alienate really 3/4 of them. If because only a fourth really live it. And then to talk about that live it part, I think I've been really bad over the years about hyping myself up too much at times with my players, to the part like, yes, I was motivated and I did work really hard, but it's not like I just had blinders on all 4 years. I mean, the senior year at the colony, I was in theater. I mean, and I did plays, and I missed some things because of that. And dabbled with tennis one weekend with Coach Thomas's wife my junior year because my best friends were out there. I realized in one weekend that that's not for me, and I never went back. But it's funny how you can start to paint this picture of how you trained and what you did. I know I worked hard, but to act like I never did anything else and I wasn't still a kid, that's just wrong. But how easy is it to try to sit here in front of your players and be like, listen, if you live it, then you got to do what I did, which is I just ate and slept basketball and nothing else. I don't know. I think we got to remember that, really think back to what it was like when we were kids. And when I think about that, besides the technology that they have now, I don't think we're that different.
And how many times do we hear somebody say, well, back when I was,
yeah,
we did it this way. And that's, like I said, that's true. To some degree, but it's just, again, I'm glad and I'm thankful I grew up when I did, the things that we had, because it is hard and it is demanding in our world today. And, I also think this is true too. It's also real to talk about all the real new issues that we have that, again, we don't have growing up. So there are a lot of new issues and things. And so I always try to do this too, is it's important to me. I can't change the world. I can't even worry about guys at Grapevine Faith, things like that. But I can worry about my guys here at the colony and what can I do to, help them. And if it's, I need to have a speaker come in and talk about tough topics, and I'll have a speaker come in. If it's a police officer, come down and talk, about things, or we need to learn how to change a tire, or we need to learn how to do a grill, or we, tie a tie to whatever it is. I can only control, here. And so we really try to do things here. And like I said, there's a lot of world issues and things that are going on that are definitely real. And as they come up, we talk about them, approach it, and go from there. That's and again, I think when you build that trust with your players and your parents and community, you can have those tough conversations with players and real conversations and real things. And if you want to say it's different or kids are different, our world's just different. But this is what we got, and these are the kids I got. So what are we going to do? I'm not going to sit back, and kids are different, and not try to do my part to help out. So,
and to your point too, I think it's important to embrace and enjoy the kids that we have in that moment, because they might not be there. But not to, like, I think early on at Faith, Coach, believe it or not, at private schools, we lose kids too. And sometimes, I mean, you can take, I took it personally, and I would rack my brain and try to figure out what I could have done different or better to provide an environment that they wanted to be in and be a part of. I mean, that's a rabbit hole that you just got to be careful going down. You can get depressed and really give up or lose some confidence with that. But if you take the approach I feel like you're taking, which is, these are the guys I have today, and good golly, I'm going to give them my very best. And I hope that they're there tomorrow. But if somebody makes a choice, I'm going to love them anyway. And then I'm going to train those guys that are there. And I just think that's a healthier approach. It's taking me a while to get there.
I think we all struggle with that. And you mentioned this earlier, that being sincere and being authentic and doing those things, and you just open up your heart to somebody, and it's, you hope they really get it and understand it. And I don't know if they really do sometimes, but it is really fun when you connect with those players or the teams, and it is a special, because it's like I said, we've been blessed to have lots of good players here at the colony. Some go on, play Division I. We've had, and many others go on and play college. Some finished, some didn't. But man, when you connect with them, those relationships for life. I mean, here we are. Who would have thought back when you were sitting here playing at the colony, in the small gym, the back gym, doing your workouts, that one, I'd be sitting here as a head coach, you'd be sitting as a head coach, we'd be having we didn't even think about things like that.
Yeah.
But you have a real relationship with people, and that's what's great about our game and our profession. And going back to Coach Thomas talking about respecting the game, you respect those relationships, because here we are 20 years later, and look how fast it went. And when you get kids to kind of understand that too, enjoy where you are, enjoy those moments, and because you're going to be in college and you're going to be out of college before you turn around. So, and it's fun when you get to go along their journey with them, though, and be there for that. So that's what's fun. That's what's great about our profession, being there along with them, and ups and downs, and kind of helping them along the way with it.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.